what's up guys? Blake here. Today we're going to be working on Kevin's 2006 Subaru STI. It's the Hawkeye, as you guys can tell. One of the best Subaru models out there for people liking and all that. This thing's pretty quick as it is now, but it is stock. It's not tuned at the moment, but we're putting the Cobb version 3 tuner on this. And we are also going to do a stage 2 downpipe today. So stay with us and we'll show you how to do this on this STI.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and install this version 3 Cobb Accessport, and then we're going to go into the maps basically, because we have TGV deletes on this car. So we have to disable those check engine light codes so that it won't throw a CEL right as we start up the car. What we're going to do first is basically install the Accessport, get those CELs to come up, then go within the Accessport tuning software and disable all those functions. There is a little green connector underneath the dash, so we're going to go ahead and connect that up. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and marry the Accessport real quick. You can see on here, basically it's just saying that we have a USDM 2006 Subaru Impreza STI, so we're going to go ahead and continue with that. After that, we're just going to go ahead and put the base Arizona, California, Nevada stage 1 tune on here real quick, because we do not have a downpipe on yet. Same, recommending we have a charged battery, so hopefully the battery doesn't die. Looks like we had a good battery. Now we're going to go ahead and flash. This takes usually around 3 to 4 minutes for this full installation. So we'll fast forward through this part. So it went 100%. Now it's telling us to please disconnect the green test mode connectors. So I'm going to go ahead and go under the dash and do that. Okay, that is disconnected. So we're going to go ahead and hit continue on here. And it says install successful. So we're going to go ahead and turn the car completely off. Now, when I do this, I always like to just give the car a second for the ECU to just kind of completely die down. And we'll hit continue. Continue one more time. It's not going to be hooked to the car. We'll start the car up real quick, see if we can't get it to throw some CEL codes. Or just start in general. There we go. It's always scary after you reflash a car, but hey, it worked, right? So it's probably going to throw a CEL because the airflow correction's pretty far off. Yeah, it's already got a check engine light. You guys can see here, we got like -14. You should be within 5% on this map. So that's why we're going to be throwing these codes. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I'm going to go to troubleshooting real quick and read codes. Now, okay, so I have a P2021 and a P2016, which is an intake manifold runner position, and then an intake manifold runner position sensor switch low. So I'm going to go ahead and take those codes, so 2021 and P2016, and we're going to disable those in the Accessport software. All right, so real quick, we're going to open the Access Tuner race program. And it asks us what type of car we have, so we just confirm that it's that car. Then we're going to go ahead and load the map that we want to alter. We're just using a stage 2 Arizona, California, Nevada map, and we're going to load that up. Once we go to that, we have to disable the TGV codes. We're going to go up to Edit, Advanced Parameters, and that's going to pull up this table. And then we have to find basically the specific CEL codes that we're trying to disable. So when we do it, we got a few just off starting the car really quickly. There's probably going to be quite a few more. So we know what the issue is. So we're just going to go in and disable those. And when anything pops up on your Accessport, it's also going to give you a description of what that specific check engine light code does. So you can feel a little more worry-free about what you're disabling in here. So we're just going through. So far we have 2, so we're going to disable those for now. and then once we get the downpipe on there, we'll reflash the car and see what other codes come up. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and undo the downpipe real quick. What we did is we sprayed down the turbo to downpipe bolts. That little flange right there, there's about, I think, 5 or 6 bolts on there, kind of just all around that flange. So we went ahead and sprayed those with WD-40, just some penetrating lube to break those loose. PB Blaster may be better, but I did not have any, so hopefully these things come off without any issue. If not, sometimes putting a torch on them is going to help, so we'll see what we get here. But we are going to be installing the Cobb downpipe. So this is one that Kevin used to have on the car, but it's been a while because the car was originally tuned open source. So now we got the Accessport on, so we're gonna go from there. And yes, we know the engine bay is dirty. All right, so we got 2 of the bolts out so far, no issue, so that was good. I'm gonna break a couple more of those loose. Get in there. You guys can see here on this turbo, at one point when Kevin had to reinstall the original downpipe, this stud, which is normally on this side sticking out this way, the stud had actually seized, or the nut on the stud had actually seized, so he had to take the turbo off and drill out the bolt. So that is an alternative if that were to happen to you guys. So he did that, and then he had to modify just a through bolt and nut, and he just modified the side of it so that it will clearance the turbo housing right there. So it works out real good. So it's a little bit of fab if that happens to you. Try it out. All right, everybody say hello to Kevin.
What's going on, guys?
What's up? All right, so what we're gonna hit next is we're gonna get these bolts on the cap back from the downpipe. We're gonna undo those real quick. And Kevin's undoing the, he just undid the oxygen sensor. One of the most frequently coded things on pretty much every car ever made, but definitely a very important part. So he's gonna go ahead and try to loosen this real quick. Oh yeah, it's working good. All right, so we're just trying to pry this off right now. I'm probing him. Probing. All right, stock downpipe is out, so like 15 minutes later, and what, 6 bolts? 6, 7, 8 bolts, something like that. Here's the O2 sensor again. So you're gonna need an O2 sensor wrench, or you can hit it from the side if it's out of the car. But it is recommended to have the appropriate wrench for that, or the socket, I mean. So here's your little gasket right here. Stock, look at the stock downpipe. So you have 2 cats on there. Check it out. And then there is the opening for the turbo, which is crap on the stock. And here's the Cobb, fully mandrel bent, with a nice bell mount opening for the turbo to let out those little horsepowers, those unicorn farts. Let them freaking rumble up. Crack this bad boy loose real quick. On the O2 sensors, I always recommend to put some anti-seize on there when you put it back in, or she could have issues down the line. Because we have a little bit of nice chunks of metal in there, so that's always cool. But I think it'll be all right. All right, so we went ahead and applied some anti-seize onto the threads of the O2 sensor. So we're gonna go ahead and thread that into the bung hole. It up through. Whoops. So after this step, you can put on the exhaust down there, but you're not going to want to tighten the exhaust first. You're going to want to do the turbo because that's the most precise flange on this installation. We'll go ahead and throw those bolts on and get this bolted up. So it's a good idea to put some anti-seize on these as well, because these bolts do have issues sometimes getting rusted onto the downpipe. that was the original reason Kevin had to modify that corner bolt on the turbo. All right, guys, so we got the downpipe all bolted up. Looks real nice down in there. So we're gonna go ahead and lower the car back down, reflash the ECU to the new stage 2 flash, and we are having to alter the map a little bit for the TGV deletes. So we're gonna throw a few check engine codes, but we're gonna use the Accessport race software, the tuning software basically, to disable some of those deletes. So we'll get a couple shots of the car starting up after we reflash it, and see how this thing sounds.